Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Cody, and welcome our guests. From Mars High School to highly successful coach of the girls soccer team, Coach Blair Gerlach. Coach, congratulations on another fantastic year. Let me go over some of these achievements because they're eye-popping. 3 straight WPL championships, straight state championships, and the only team ever to win 3 straight PIAA titles undefeated, 63 straight wins. You are, for the second year in a row, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Girls Team of the Year, and the National Coaches Soccer Association has named you Coach of the Year, and your team a national ranking of number 5. This is great. This is heady stuff. It's the stuff that dreams and legends are made of. How do you wrap your head around all this?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been a heck of a run, a heck of a ride. The girls are fantastic. The program has so much support, just from the athletic department all the way through the families. So yeah, we're going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Hey, Coach, while it lasts, you've been part of what, 9 WPL championships there?
Yes. Yeah.
6 as a head coach, I believe, something like that, or 5.
Yeah, all of them were as a head coach.
All of them as a head coach?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know there was some connection there that you've been involved in this program for a long time.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the girls that you've sent on to play college soccer, many Division One. We had 3 of them on here a few years ago, going to Pitt and Purdue, Kent State. Now you have another girl, Reese Dunaway, committed to St. John's. Who am I missing in this group? That's quite an achievement in itself.
Yeah, these players deserve to play at the next level. They put the work in, they play all year round, various cup programs and so forth. But we've got, Gwen Howell has committed to University of Richmond. Piper Caulfield has committed to Indiana.
Her sister's at Pitt.
Her sister's playing at Pitt. Yep. My daughter committed to Edinburgh. Ava Balazentis is committed to Slippery Rock.
Gracie Dunaway's at Purdue.
Yep. Ava Lewis is going to William and Mary.
Wow.
There's a laundry list, of where these kids are going. And the good thing is they're going to schools where when they get there, they make an impact, right? These kids are typically going there, staying for 4 years. And, we put a big focus on trying to encourage to pick the school for the school and not just for the soccer, so that they don't have to transfer out like a lot of kids do.
Coach, what's been the cornerstone, the pinnacles of the success in your program at Mars? Because you're going down already. You're one of the great stories in the history of Western Pennsylvania sports. I don't care if it's girls or boys with what you've done. What's the cornerstone of your success?
Yeah, I think it's the culture of the players. I think the players have an expectation. As a coaching staff, we challenge them to want to be great every day and how to get better, and let them know that they're going to face some obstacles and they need to find a way to, come together and be versatile enough to come through those tough games when things aren't going your way. And the girls have bought in. The players are truly the ones that do all the work, and, we get a couple of the accolades as coaches. So, kudos to the girls.
So how do you keep your girls focused with all this success? How do you keep them grounded and not let them get jaded with all the success that you've had?
Yeah, I think that we try to bring up a lot of stories of things that have happened to teams in the past, upsets that have happened, a 16 beating a 1, or, a 1 getting a bye and then losing to the 8-9 winner in the next round. And it's just one bad bounce, right? And your season's over. So you've got to stay focused and you've got to be clean.
I'm sitting here talking to you, and I always think about coaches and their success, their personality, their makeup. Not everyone's the same. There are a few things there that you demand the players to give their best. So how would you describe yourself as a coach?
Hopefully stern but fair. The expectation level is really high. We want to make sure that our fitness is peak. We want to make sure that, that mistakes are tolerated, but not, they're not challenged so much that the players, feel like they can't take risks. So we want the players to be encouraged to go for it when it's there. But I certainly have a tone change when everybody knows that it's an important moment. I think they refer to it as my bark.
And this day and age, of course, you can't have the not only players but dealing with the support and getting the support of the parents is so crucial. So you must be doing a good job there. You know, you have so many parent groups in support of teams. How often do you meet with them, address them? How do you deal with them,
Yeah,
parents?
I mean, we've got a booster program that's fantastic, and they kind of run with everything behind the scenes. They try to make it so that coaches coach, which is huge because we don't lose 50% of our time doing admin stuff, um, and they support the girls a ton, and the boys as well. You know, our boosters are all together, even with our middle school programs. So the behind the scenes stuff is so good that we don't really have to keep tabs on it. You know, it's we're blessed to have them behind the scenes.
There must be a great culture there at Mars because look, the lacrosse team winning your first ever
Yep.
state championship, the success that basketball's had, football's had. I mean, baseball teams. You have a couple. One David Bednar in the major leagues,
Yep.
and his brother Will pitched Mississippi State to the national championship.
Yep.
There's something special there at Mars. You know, years ago, 25, 30 years ago, you was like a sleeping giant, and now the giant's no longer sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of growth, right? The houses are popping up everywhere, new communities, new neighborhoods everywhere. It's it's kind of a second Cranberry at this point. Um, but with all these people coming into the district, brings more players, more opportunities, more athletes, and we've just got to, we're now competing for athletes with a couple of other sports that we didn't have to compete with before. You know,
I remember years ago coaching at North Allegheny. We were playing Pine Richland in baseball, and our coach at that time, Greg Manasotas, who had great success, he said, "Guys, over there's a sleeping giant." And then was he right on that? And then later on, I heard someone say the same thing about Mars, and that's come to fruition for both programs, both schools.
yeah. I mean, I grew up in Hampton, and when we played Mars, it wasn't that competitive of a contest. And things have changed a lot since the mid '90s.
And let me ask you, if someone called you, a superintendent called you and said, hey coach, we're starting a first time ever girls soccer program. We need your advice as to how to start this program. What would you tell them?
Get involved with the youth, right? Find a way to let the younger players know what you're doing, and the younger families let them know what you're doing, so everybody gets on board. And then the end goal is the same, that they all have aspirations of really wanting to play on their high school team.
So winning 63 straight, you really have a target on your back. Uh, that's incredible that you don't have a letdown, that you win all, and it's top caliber competition with the WPL and the state. These are WPL and state records, 63 straight.
I have no idea.
I would think that they would be. What's you got to be somewhere encroaching on the national record in some respect there.
Yeah, we don't talk about it at all. It's at some point we're going to lose a game, and that's going to provide a great learning opportunity for us and make us hungrier and make us stronger, to come back again. So it's a fun run so far, and hopefully it continues. But if not, we'll put a good spin on it, and we'll come back again.
And coach, I know the cupboard's not bare. You have what, a half dozen or more lettermen returning for next year?
Yeah, we've got about 8 starters returning.
Wow, so things and Reese Dunaway is back, be her senior year.
Yeah,
She's
she'll
already
be a
committed to
senior this
St.
year.
John's,
Yeah,
and I
we've
know
got-
you have others too.
We've got a really big senior class. We've got 12 seniors this year, and they all understand what the program is about, and they want to come in and continue the trend.
Well, Coach, you've done a fantastic job there. They'll be talking about this program for the ages to come. Congratulations to you and your team on your great success. And we really need to get down there and do one of your games. It would be great to do that.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Thanks for having me today. I'd appreciate it.
Thanks for coming
All right.
on. Congratulations.
No problem. Thank you.
I'll be right back with Alan George. I am back, joined to my right by the Swami, George Abraham, to my left, the Tiger, Albert Campman. Let's jump in the spotlight. Swimming, Knock high school swimmer Gianna Lavarini. She won the women's 200-yard breaststroke championship at the YMCA Long Course Nationals at Greensboro, North Carolina. And the Mars boys lacrosse team, they were named the Post-Gazette Boys Team of the Year, their first ever state championship. And in wrestling, Butler wrestler Anna Malovich placed fourth in the USA 16 and under girls national freestyle event in Fargo, North Dakota. Anna's a junior wrestler for the Golden Tornado 114-pound class. We know all about her boxing brothers from the Cubs.
Yeah, names sound very familiar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in harness racing, Brady Big Bucks Brown of Slip Rock, he won 2 races at the Meadows and picking up checks of $5,800 and $9,000. But every week it's like $10,000 or $15,000 that he picks up.
He's a good driver. It's that simple. Al and I
must have win.
We used to watch harness quite a bit, and what I like, and we've talked about his style. He gives you a chance. Never, Albert, you're going to have him ninth, and then, with all this juice left, and come fifth. He's up there.
He's one of the best. Lernerville Speedway first place winners. Isaac Chappell won the Buckeye Outlaw Sprint Series. Daryl Charlier won the Rush Late Models. He picked up a check of $3,000. Garrett Crummert won the Rush Modifieds. John Molik won the Rush Sprints. And Greg Dabrowski, the Allegheny Sprint 305. I'm guessing with the Charlier winning $3,000, each one of these races must be at least somewhere between the $3,000 and $5,000 neighborhood.
Absolutely.
I would think so,
they
wouldn't
run
you?
for cash down there. They always have.
Yeah, well, we talked before about the big checks they picked up in some of the other events.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, retirement news. Butler High swim coach Dave Bocci steps down after 10 years. He had a number of outstanding swimmers who won WPIL and PIAA gold medals. Pretty good considering the tough section he was in with North Allegheny and Seneca Valley.
You don't see coaches lasting long anymore.
10 years is a long time now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those 40-year coaches, you don't see them much anymore.
It's going to year round.
Yeah.
And World Track Championships, North Allegheny grad Aiden Owens Delamy out of the University of Arkansas. He had the lead after one day of the World Decathlon Championships. He is representing Puerto Rico. This kid's a fantastic athlete.
Yeah, the decathlon does it.
Tells you everything about
Not
him
alone, let alone the leader of the world championships.
after one day.
My goodness.
Our stories of the week, college football. Well, there's a buzz going on in Pittsburgh. Pat Narduzzi appeared on a podcast, talked about the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC. And let me say what he said, then you guys jump in. In the bowl game loss 31-21 to Michigan State, he said Pitt would have routed Michigan State had Pickett played and would have won by 14 had backup Nick Patty not been injured. And he also, I think he forgot that Michigan State star running back Kenneth Walker didn't play, and his defense gave up 31 points. Narduzzi said, if Michigan State is the best in the Big Ten, let's go and play there. Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa. As long as he doesn't play Western Michigan. Go ahead, guys. Jump
Let
in.
Albert take it.
Well, I just think you have to talk that way. I mean, if you're the head coach of a university, you're not going to say we can't play against somebody. I mean, you have to be as out front as you can. And he's got the program going in the right direction, so I wouldn't disagree with him. I watched the game. If Pickett plays, they win by 3 touchdowns. They were going up.
I disagree.
They were going.
They
up
gave
and
up
down.
31 points.
No, they didn't. The defense, the Michigan State defense scored 2 of them.
Okay. What the backup running back do for Michigan State?
Well, he's not compared to Pickett. Walker's not. Pickett.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you. I'm just saying that's my opinion, and I'm saying
you're entitled to it, right?
I watched it.
I'm of a different opinion.
And they didn't stop one play when Patty was playing.
And so
He got hurt the first series.
That's what I said.
He
Went right down the
Yeah,
field.
first
He went right in
series.
the end zone.
Okay.
First
Fell on his
series.
shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so his take on playing in the Big Ten with Ohio State, Michigan.
Now Ohio State's the one team.
Yeah.
Pick and play with all the rest of them. But not Ohio State. You think they're scared to line up against Iowa or Penn
Well,
State?
you got Rutgers, Maryland, Illinois, and Indiana.
I guarantee you
Yeah.
can play in that Big
They're
Ten.
better than that.
But Ohio State. But who can play with Ohio State?
That's what.
Right.
I always hear this, Eddie. This is a great one. They'll say, How could he guard Michael Jordan? I said, who did guard Michael
Right.
Jordan? Who does beat Ohio State?
All right, then they took a shot at the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Said they're overrated. Are you listening? Tennessee he has a Tennessee
Yeah, no.
shirt on.
Well, opening game.
So
I
this,
think they are.
This interested
The
me.
top of the SEC is
Yeah.
tremendous.
Georgia,
Right,
Alabama.
right,
They're
right.
different.
But you know Vanderbilt is
No,
not.
they're no good. But I'm talking
No.
the other teams are beatable. They're not.
Well,
they're
you still
not.
that would be a schedule: Texas A&M and Auburn and Alabama and Georgia,
Arkansas rolled Penn State in the bowl game.
Mississippi State. They're pretty good. They're all pretty good.
Well, they're pretty good, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're not
But you know
scared to
what?
play them.
They're-
I don't think they're overrated.
No, but here's what I think though: the top two give the entire conference an aura that maybe if you peeled it back,
Right, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And that's what's happened. That's what happened in the Pac-12. They lost their top teams. They US.
Well, UCLA hasn't won this since night. Actually, it's Southern
long
Cal,
time.
and they haven't been good in 5-6 years.
Yeah,
But
long
UCLA's
time.
not been good in 20.
And now, just checking the Steelers camp roster, what Nuzzi said piqued my interest to see that this Steelers summer camp roster has 20 players from the SEC, 18 from the Big Ten, and 8 from the ACC.
Well, once again, I don't know that I've looked, but I'm guaranteeing in my mind they're from Ohio State and one from the other teams. That's what I think. And they're from Alabama and Georgia.
I think they have the most from Michigan. I think
Okay.
they have 5 from Michigan and I don't know 3 or 4 from
They
Ohio
were, when
State.
they were getting beat by Ohio State, Michigan, they were still sending guys to the pros. But here was the difference: not the top guys.
Yeah.
Like last year, they had a top lineman.
Yeah.
In those years when Ohio State was conquering them, they'd have 3 or 4 free agents.
And 3 or 4 in the 6th, 7th
Yeah,
round. Yeah, no
yeah,
question.
Okay, and then he said this about his coaching staff this year. It's better than last year's. Last year's staff that helped him win an ACC championship, and he said even if they only win one game, it's a better staff. And then he was critical. I don't understand this. Mark Whipple's play calling in the ACC championship game against Wake Forest, would they put up over 40 points? He said they were too pass happy. They should have run the ball more. And I'm thinking, you're the head coach, but you're on the phone. Can't you say to Whipple,
Well, that's
run the ball?
all the other things I agree with him. That's the stupidest thing you can say right there.
Run the ball.
There's a bigger reason
You
it's
don't,
stupid.
you don't talk about your assistants at all. No, zero. If you're going
Okay.
to talk about it, you say, boy, Eddie and George, you have no idea how good they
But
are.
we need-
yeah,
and-
you don't
yeah.
talk about anybody
And
like
one
that.
more thing, the biggest thing. Why did Pickett come back? He said it over
Because
and
of
over.
Whipple.
Absolutely.
And could that be one of the reasons? I'm sure the money
He was
was
going
the
the
big
next
allure
day.
that Jordan Addison left to go to USC
Well, I don't know.
because he'd like Whipple too.
I know that Michigan State game was in the
That
middle
was
of the
trash.
Yeah, I agree.
The
I
Michigan
agree.
State game was in the middle of the week, and he was going the next day. I mean, they didn't wait till Sunday.
Well, Whipple doubled his pay at
Oh, yeah,
Nebraska.
yeah.
But
They're all in this year,
and,
by
and,
the way.
And Pickett had the greatest year of any Pitt quarterback in history.
Oh.
And so they win 10 games. Why you would criticize him, I agree with you, is hard for me to wrap my head around because he was also highly critical of Matt Canada when he left for LSU. He threw him under the bus also.
And that's why Partner News is not rated by me one of the top 20 coaches in the country because he's stupid. And my wife says, don't use the word stupid. He uses stupid
You don't
statements.
say that.
Don't say that. Just say we're trying to get better.
Yeah.
We hire some really good
Hoping
assistants.
these guys can do it.
Yes.
How do you say even if we only win one game this year, we have a better coaching staff?
What I say he is
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, he's-
Now, I've never heard in all these years Mike Tomlin say one bad thing about it.
He's
Ex-player or
smart.
coach.
Yeah.
I've
He's
never
smart.
heard Chuck Noll say
He's
one
smart.
bad word. I heard Noll quietly get rid of
Smart.
coaches, never said a word
Why
about
would
it.
you?
No.
Not a thing.
No, if I went off this show, I did something stupid. I'm capable of being stupid too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you guys to say, well, he should be off the show. He's stupid. You know,
Yeah,
it's the dumbest thing I ever seen.
I
in
know
my
they
life.
said to Noll one time, tried to get him to jump on a player it was holding out, and Noll said, I'm only concerned with the guys who are in
Exactly.
camp." That's
All the
it.
great coaches say
Boom.
that.
Right,
All the
smart.
good coaches say
Yeah,
that.
that game was the game's over. These guys are gone. What is the point? I say this though: Nebraska's all in. They better win.
Wow. What he should have said
Well, this
to
is
Mark
last year if he
Whipple,
doesn't.
what he should have said to Mark Whipple was thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all.
Because if Pickett doesn't come back,
Yeah.
we're not having this
Oh,
conversation.
No, we're
even
not
close.
having this
Not
at
even
all.
close.
Well, it'll be
Sounds like
interesting.
he's a little jealous. to me.
Hey, you just know that somehow, some way, they got word to Tennessee.
me tell you about-
Everything adds up.
Let me
Everything
tell you
adds
about
up.
them. Here's the funny part about Tennessee. Optimism's high. They ended it,
High
at the end
profile
of the year.
offense.
Okay, but here's the thing. they're looking. They have a stretch where they play Georgia, Florida, Alabama. Bang, bang, bang. They think this Pitt game's over.
Well,
I'm telling you, I watch Feinbaum pretty much daily. Those SEC fans, they look down their nose at it. They honestly, I think they don't think Pitt has a chance.
I know their offense is good. They put up 34 points
They
against
don't
Pitt
stop.
last
I think
year.
you made a good
And
point
mi-
there,
and missed a
George.
couple of touchdown passes.
Yeah,
Clearly,
yeah.
guys wide
He
open.
got better.
What you said was the fans think that.
The fans, not
There
the
is
coach.
no possible way.
Heifel knows.
Yeah, there's no
When he
possible
watches
way.
film, they have him ranked second in the country defensive line.
Yeah, so
And their offensive is going to be
17.
powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, pro football, the Steelers head back to Latrobe preseason camp, first time after a 2-year absence due to the COVID, and in search of a new quarterback. And up-ups comments from Big Ben about why he's not playing. He feels that Kevin Colbert did not want him back. Last year, he said he thinks that Art Rooney wanted them back in Tomlin. Well, let me ask you. Here's another question. Who owns the team?
yeah.
If
so-
Art Rooney wanted him back, don't you think he'd have said to Colbert, Kevin, you're bringing him back for another year or whatever? Maybe as George said to me before on the phone, Colbert the only mistake he made, he should have done it 2 years ago.
Absolutely. He was done.
mistake they continue to make, and which I don't like, is quit interviewing Roethlisberger. I
agree.
I don't want to hear what he has to say.
When they get that,
Quit interviewing him.
Wait a
Albert,
minute. He's been out 5 minutes now. The young guys. He
Quit
never
interviewing
practiced
him.
Wednesday in his life.
But quit interviewing him. We don't want to hear what he has
Albert,
to say.
I
we,
know.
we know there's a certain media bias towards him. They
Oh.
defend him. They've been critical of Mason Rudolph, who's never
Well,
said.
so am I. I think it's like night and day.
Well, no, I'm not talking about
Not
that.
to play
I'm
it.
talking about just jumping on his kid. He's never said a bad word.
Gotcha.
Never said anything.
Gotcha.
And yet he's been viciously attacked. And now jumping on Kevin Colbert after he retires, it was him that pushed him out. Well, what do general managers do? They have to keep teams
Oh, yeah, you
moving
have to.
ahead.
You have to.
So he's praised Pickett and he's praised Trubisky. He's never said one word
Mm-hmm.
about Rudolph
That's
ever.
not an old folks' home. It's a football team. The guy made $250 million. It was time to go. What? I don't get this sentimentality stuff. And now, if he was donating his time, let's have a big party. Let's give him a watch. He made $250 million.
And we know media guys won't say a word because
Never.
they had him on his show and all that
Never.
stuff, and they covered for him.
That thing in Philly the other day where they got into it, the player, and could never happen in Pittsburgh. Never.
Literally, his last few years, he was the worst rated quarterback yards per pass attempt. Now, the camp questions.
But don't go by that though. I mean, he is the greatest player that's been through here in the last 20-some years.
absolutely.
So you can't go by the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying
Unbelievable.
when you talk about the decision that comes
no,
to
that's
the
right
point of
decision.
everyone.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying not saying he wasn't a great
made it
quarterback.
sound like you didn't say anything good about him.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't a
2
great
Super
quarterback.
Bowls.
I said the last few
No.
years.
No, last 2 years he was
my point being, he shouldn't be saying anything. Kevin Colbert did what he had to do.
Oh no, exactly. We said
Right.
that. But I'm blaming the reporters more than much Roethlisberger. Quit talking to him. If you want to interview Rudolph. Interview Trubinsky. Don't interview Roethlisberger. I don't want to hear about it.
Easier said than done because they've had that relationship for years that you've said that
They were
before.
invited to his barbecue.
Hey guys, the camp questions. Can the new defensive coordinator, Terrell Austin, and new defensive assistant, Brian Flores, can they make a difference in changing the NFL's worst run defense as they head into camp, 25th ranked? You know, they gave up 146 yards a game, 2,483 yards rushing for the season, second worst in team history. And will the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, improve as a play caller with a more mobile quarterback?
If they got players, you win. If you don't, you lose. It's not the coaching. It never will be the coaching. It's going to be the players. See if they can do it. Hayward's a great player, but you look at the rest of the line of scrimmage, I don't see great players. You know, Watt's a great pass rusher, but they're not all run stoppers. So I don't think it's not an X and O thing. It's we'll see if they got good enough players to get
I
it
think
done.
their biggest problem is the coaches and egos. They have 3 guys that are all capable of calling the defense. The kid from Sharon, Tomlin, and Flores.
And is Tomlin going to let that happen? He's had
if
his
he wouldn't let
hand on
Dick
it.
LeBeau call, what would make you
I don't think he
he'd
should.
let
Though.
Terrell
He's
Austin?
one of the greatest defensive minds in football. I wouldn't either.
Well,
I mean, he's made the playoffs 8 straight years. I don't understand. I wouldn't change much, except what you said. Try to stop the run better.
Yeah, I made the playoffs 8 straight years, but here's the thing: they've only won 3 games.
I didn't ask that question.
In 8 years.
Did Cleveland make it
asking.
See, we're happy.
I'm not going back to Cleveland. I'm talking about the
No,
Steelers.
I'm talking the whole NFL. How many teams can you say except New England and Pittsburgh?
Albert, I
They
agree
make-
with you in that regard, but when it comes down to it,
So you'd rather have them be lousy and win one Super Bowl?
No, I want them to win more playoff games. They only won 3 in 8 years.
But he's
That's not
getting
good.
there with lousy teams. It isn't like they're picking Pittsburgh to win the Super Bowl every year. There's not one year I said pick the man and said, all right, favorite Pittsburgh.
Albert, I agree, but no one cares about that. All they care about
No,
is
you care.
what
I
you
care-
do
I care if they
in
get
the
to the playoffs.
postseason. You care what they do in the postseason?
I don't care either way.
Yeah, he doesn't steal a fan.
Right, he's not a
They
Steelers
lose the
fan.
ball.
All right.
I hope they don't make it 6 years in a row. Then they'll say, what happened to them? Well, when you're in the playoffs every year, as every team, Arizona, you go right down the line. Wish we were the Steelers. Wish we were the Steelers. Wish we were the Steelers. Except Steeler fans.
Now,
Steeler fans are so
we
spoiled.
disagree in their
We're spoiled.
postseason success. Hey,
Wait, hold on.
Major
Go back to Butler. You always talk about Butler. They didn't win anything. You say, boy, is he a great Butler coach? They didn't win either, so that means he's not a great coach. The great coach
Right.
of Butler. Either you are. I think he was a great coach of Butler. Not a good one, a great one. But they didn't win They didn't win WPL championships.
Who are you talking about?
Your guy. They won one. Didn't they win one?
Bernardi.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in 5 championship
Wait,
games. He
wait,
won one.
you can't go both ways.
He won one. He won one.
So he's not any good. He's like
Right.
Tomlin. That's which way you
No,
going
no,
with that?
totally different.
No, it
You're
isn't.
you're
No, it
absolutely.
isn't.
I disagree with you this way. I think the way I do, you think the way you
Yes, we
do.
do.
I totally disagree. Hey, quickly, state of the game, Major League Baseball. I'm not going to get to all of it. Lots of stuff to discuss about attendance, but I did some checking last week. Games played on Friday and Saturday. 20 teams struck up more times than they had hits.
That's crazy.
And the worst one was the Pirates. They had 6 hits. They struck out
18
20
times.
times.
They struck out
Baseball.
18
Miami.
times.
Yes,
Sunday.
baseball.
20.
18 times.
Get used to it. It ain't
20
leaving.
times.
And you know, they changed the hitting coach last year, so who do you blame?
It ain't leaving.
And there's so much going on with attendance. I was misled. I was checking the box scores all summer, and I thought attendance is up. I was totally wrong.
Are they down?
It's down
Throughout
5.7%.
Major League Baseball, you mean?
21 out of 30 teams are down in attendance.
Wow.
The usual ones are up there.
And
the
they still make
Yankees and
billions of
Dodgers.
Dodgers, Yankees,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mets, Cubs,
Hey, that's
Red
it for us. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week.
Armstrong is honored to commemorate the 5th anniversary of our Healing Heroes initiative. With your support, we've tripled our goal by raising $338,000, enabling us to provide 15 area veterans with service dogs. We continue to encourage veterans in need of this life-changing assistance to apply for a Guardian Angels medical service dog by visiting armstrongonewire.com/healingheroes and clicking Apply Now. Together, we can unleash the power to heal.